So, welcome to my floor. I didn't really think that would hold, but apparently it did. Wall mounting these IKEA countertops, if you do it correctly, it's quite sturdy. So in today's video we are going to talk a little bit about how I mounted these to the wall and yeah, what kind of tools I used and whatnot. I would not really recommend sitting on it, especially if you weigh as much as I do, but well, it looks like it works at least. So the main reason I wanted a wall-mounted desk is because I kind of like the look of it, and the size of this room is pretty small, so utilizing every last centimeter or inch is crucial in my opinion. And when I have IKEA just 15 minutes drive from me, and of course we have these popular Karlby countertop, walnut countertops. It's not walnut straight through, it's I think it's MDF in the middle, and then it's kind of maybe a millimeter or so, a few millimeters of walnut on the top. But the price is all right, and yeah, they are used in a lot of desktop setups, as you can see on YouTube, in addition with the Karlby drawers and other types of setups. Mounting this to the wall requires some planning. I bought the longest worktop IKEA has. It's the one that is 253 centimeters in length, and it weighs about almost 40 kilos. So if you add my kilos on top of there, I had about 150 kilos of weight on top of this now when I tested it. But I had to cut it to length so it fits the room. So the room is about 202 centimeters, and I used a circle saw to cut the countertop. Just take it slow. I was able to cut it without chipping the wood or leaving ugly marks or things like that. Now, this is the part where I tell you that I am not a carpenter, and the advice I give here might not be necessarily correct, but I think it's alright for home use at least. So what you need other than the countertop obviously is some fastening materials. And what you need to buy highly depends on what type of wall you're planning to mount this on. So it's really important to know that and research the best fastener for your type of wall. In my case, the walls here are made up of a dual layer of a special type of fibers, drywall with fibers inside it to make it a little bit more soundproof, since this is a kind of a studio. So my drywall is a little bit stronger than regular drywall. Behind the drywall are also wooden studs. I did take a picture of the wall before I finished the room, but if you don't know where the studs are in your room, you can use a stud finder to help you find them. You also need sturdy and long enough shelf brackets, preferably in some kind of metal. And make sure they are rated for carrying the load you're going to put on top of them. And a good equipped hardware store should have this in stock. So the first thing I did was I mounted a laser leveler, such like this, on a tripod. And then I measured the height I wanted to have. Then I took the shelf brackets here to the correct height, and I marked a ring around the hole inside the bracket so I could see the markings on the wall. So the next thing I did was I pre-drilled holes here into that ring that is smaller than the bolt that I'm going to use, just to try and prevent any cracking or problems when screwing the bolt in to the wall here. And I'm using heavy-duty bolts for wood with a washer to try and even the load, and I screw it straight through the pre-drilled hole in the drywall and into the wooden stud behind the drywall. And I get all 3 bolts started, but I'm not tightening them until I have all 3 bolts started in the holes. When I have the bracket mounted here, I take the worktop and I lay it loosely on top of the brackets. Now, since I wanted a desk with some depth, I decided to offset the countertop about 10 centimeters out from the wall. This will also give me space for cables, power adapters and stuff that are usually hidden behind the desk anyway, and space for mounting things like table tripods and similar things that you need for, well, I do some occasional streaming and yeah, as you know, YouTubing on this room. That is why it's important to have long enough shelf brackets so it can carry the weight even with a 10 centimeter offset out from the wall. And I'm sure there are some mathematical calculation you can do here, but that's beyond me at least. After this I took some screws made for wood and I screwed them in from the underside to secure the worktop on top of the brackets. Again, I use some wooden screws here just to make sure they are not too long so they go through the countertop. So now I have 3 pretty sturdy shelf brackets around here. We can take a look at them. There's 1, 2, and there's the 3rd one. But I felt I needed some additional support to be 100% sure that this setup can carry some weight on top of it, and that's why I mounted the 2 little smaller brackets on the side here, which you can see there. It's this one, and we have another one over there. So this now makes the entire construction super sturdy and able to support some weight. I don't think I wanted to sit on top of this countertop if I didn't have those on the side here, but that's me. So the piece I cut off here also makes for a nice addition to the desk where I can place my synthesizer, for example, and it's mounted with a smaller shelf bracket. And as you can see below here, I encountered our problem. I was unable to screw the screw in all the way. The top one there was probably hitting another screw in the wall behind it, and I didn't have much leverage so I could screw it in on in another angle or something like that, so it didn't really work. But the 2 bolts underneath there are mounted onto the drywall here, so I think that's good enough. And then this cut-off part doesn't weigh that much either. So if you have a weak wall yourself, or you don't find the studs and use drywall anchors, I would be careful with the load. You can buy additional legs from IKEA for extra support if that is needed. However, it wouldn't look that nice, and in that case you might be better off going with an Alex drawer combination where you don't have to mount anything to the wall. Or you can try and source some sturdy rectangular feet you can have installed here on the sides instead. So there's a lot of ways you can go about mounting this, and having a good workspace and optimizing the available space to its fullest potential is, in my opinion, something that at least sparks my creativity. And sometimes you just have to go the do-it-yourself route to get it exactly how you want it. Let me know if you have done something similar. I hope you liked this video. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Goodbye.